How many times have you witnessed the worst kinds of people rising to the top, while the truly good ones remain stuck in place? You've seen it. The liar, the cheat, the manipulator, they rise. They get wealthier, they gain more power, they succeed. But what happens to the hard-working, honest people? They are overlooked, underpaid, and forgotten. You've seen it in the workplace, the person who does the least, yet somehow gets promoted. You've seen it in politics. The biggest liars and manipulators always seem to win. And in business, you've watched billionaires exploit others while being hailed as visionaries. And perhaps in these moments, you've asked yourself, why does the world reward the worst, while the good get overlooked? Listen closely, because the answer is not as simple as it seems. The world isn't broken. It's not unfair by mere chance. It is unfair by design. This isn't a new revelation. Even 200 years ago, the same corrupt forces were winning, while the virtuous ones struggled. But unlike most, Schopenhauer and Nietzsche understood why this happens. They uncovered truths that for many remain hidden. Today I will reveal what they discovered. This is not just another theory. What you're about to hear will change the way you perceive the world forever. But be warned, once you understand this truth, you cannot forget it. So, if you prefer to remain in the comfortable illusion you've been taught, feel free to look away now. But if you're ready to understand why the worst keep winning and what you can do about it, stay with me. Since the day you were born, you were told the same story. Be a good person, work hard, follow the rules, and one day you'll be successful. But let's be honest, how often does that actually happen? Look at the world around you. Who's really winning? Is it the people who play fair? Or is it the ones who lie, manipulate, and take whatever they want? Think about your own life. How many times have you done everything right, worked harder than anyone else, followed the rules, only to watch someone else, someone who cheated their way through, take what should have been yours? Maybe it was a coworker who sucked up to the boss while you actually did the work. Maybe it was a business that cut corners while you played fair and got left behind. Maybe it was a person who lied, manipulated, and still walked away with the win. And every time, you were left thinking, how the hell is this fair? Well, here's what no one ever told you. It's not. It never was. Because the world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards power. That's why the rich get richer. That's why politicians can lie and still stay in office. That's why ruthless CEOs can step on thousands of people and still be called brilliant. And the worst part? This isn't new. Even 200 years ago, the same kind of people were rising to the top while the good ones were struggling. Take a moment and imagine this. It's the 1800s. You're a hard-working merchant, an honest craftsman, or maybe even a scholar. You do everything right. You follow the laws. You believe in fairness. But next to you, there's another man. He cuts corners. He bribes officials. He lies about his business to get ahead. And while you struggle to survive, he thrives. This is what Schopenhauer saw with his own eyes. The same pattern, the same injustice, the same truth that no one wanted to admit. But instead of accepting it, he asked the question no one else dared to ask. Why? Why does the world always favor the ruthless over the righteous? He spent his life trying to find the answer. And what he discovered will completely change the way you see reality. Because once you understand what truly drives this world, you'll never think about success the same way again. Arthur Schopenhauer looked at the world and saw something that most people refuse to admit. The world isn't fair. It was never meant to be. He believed that everything in life is controlled by a force he called the will, a blind, relentless force that doesn't care about morality, justice, or fairness. It only cares about one thing: survival. And once you understand this, everything starts to make sense. Why do the most ruthless people rise to power? Why do the strongest nations dominate the weak? Why do the rich keep getting richer while the poor stay trapped? Because the will doesn't reward goodness. It rewards those who take action. Look at nature. There's no fairness in the wild. A lion doesn't hesitate to take down a weaker animal. A wolf pack doesn't stop to ask if it's fair before hunting its prey. Hesitation means death. Strength means survival. And humans, we like to believe we're different, that we're rational, that we have morality, that we've evolved past all of this, but we haven't. Think about how the business world works. A company that plays fair, that cares too much about ethics, that tries to do the right thing. How long does it last? Meanwhile, the corporations that crush their competition, exploit cheap labor, manipulate the system, they dominate because the will doesn't care about what's right. It only rewards those who act. And here's the hard truth. Most people don't succeed, not because they aren't smart or hardworking, but because they hesitate. They wait for things to be fair. They wait to be recognized. They wait for opportunities instead of forcing them into existence. And that's why they lose. Schopenhauer saw this happening centuries ago. He saw the people who waited get crushed by the ones who imposed their will. He saw good people lose simply because they refused to play the real game. But here's where things get even darker. Schopenhauer only explained why the world is brutal. Nietzsche, he explained why you were trained to be weak. And once you understand what Nietzsche discovered, you'll never see the world the same way again. Schopenhauer explained why the world is ruthless, but Nietzsche took it further. He revealed why you were conditioned to be weak. Here's the truth. Most people aren't powerless by accident. They were trained to be powerless. Since childhood, we've been taught lessons, not just by our parents and teachers, but by society itself. Be humble, be obedient, be selfless, turn the other cheek, wait your turn, play nice. But Nietzsche saw through this illusion. He understood that what we call morality wasn't created to help people grow stronger. It wasn't meant to build character. It was created to keep people weak. He called this slave morality versus master morality. Master morality is the mindset of the powerful. These are the people who shape the world, who take what they want, who create their own rules. They don't hesitate. They don't wait for fairness. They impose their will. They are the ones who succeed. Slave morality, on the other hand, is the mindset of the weak. These are the people who accept their place in the world, who believe that power is inherently evil. They convince themselves that submission is virtuous, that suffering makes them noble. And the dangerous part? Most people, probably including you, were trained to think like a slave. Think about it for a moment. Who controls the world? The governments, the corporations, the elite, the ones at the top. And what do they always tell you? What do they encourage? Work hard, stay quiet, be patient, and one day you'll be rewarded. But let's ask a critical question. Are they playing by those same rules? Do billionaires sit around waiting for fairness to come their way? Do politicians refuse to take power because it wouldn't be moral? Absolutely not. Do world leaders turn the other cheek when they're attacked? They strike back. The truth is, they write the rules. They control the system. They are the ones who decide what's fair and what's not. And they tell you to be good, to follow their rules, so you never become a threat to them. Because here's the harshest truth of all. The people who told you to be humble, the ones who taught you to be patient and to wait your turn, they never followed their own advice. That's why the powerful stay powerful. That's why the rich stay rich. That's why the worst people keep winning. Because they're playing a different game. The game you've been taught to play, it's designed for you to lose. They tell you to be patient, to wait your turn, and by the time you've waited long enough, it's too late. By the time you've learned all those rules, the people who wrote them have already taken everything. And here's the reality. If you don't wake up to that truth, you will forever be a pawn in their game. You will be stuck, watching from the sidelines as the corrupt rise, while the good remain defeated. So the real question now is, now that you see the truth, what are you going to do about it? It's up to you. You can continue to play by their rules, live in their system, and hope for the best. Or you can choose to break free. You can choose to stop playing the game as it was designed and instead rewrite your own rules. But this is the turning point. You can no longer afford to sit back and wait. the world won't change for you. You must change the world for yourself. Now that you see the truth, you have a choice. You can keep playing by the fake rules they gave you, waiting, obeying, hoping for fairness. Or you can start playing the real game. And no, that doesn't mean becoming ruthless or abandoning your values. It means understanding 3 fundamental rules that the powerful already know. Rule number 1, stop believing that kindness is enough. Being a good person is great, but on its own, it won't get you anywhere because the world doesn't reward good. It rewards those who take action. That means you need to stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. Stop expecting recognition. Start demanding it. Rule number 2, stop waiting for fairness. If you still believe that life is fair, you've already lost. Fairness isn't given, it's taken. If you want respect, power, success, you need to position yourself strategically. You need to think like the people who win. Rule number 3, stop fearing power. Power itself isn't evil. Weakness is dangerous. Because here's what happens to weak people in this world. They get stepped on. They get used. They get discarded. If you don't build your own strength, mentally, financially, socially, you will always be at the mercy of those who do. And that's exactly what the system wants. So if you're tired of being on the losing side, it's time to stop playing by their rules. Transition. But now, there's only one question left. Now that you see the truth, you have a choice. You can keep playing by the fake rules they gave you, waiting, obeying, hoping for fairness. Or you can start playing the real game. And no, that doesn't mean becoming ruthless or abandoning your values. It means understanding 3 fundamental rules that the powerful already know. Rule number 1, stop believing that kindness is enough. Being a good person is great, but on its own, it won't get you anywhere. Because the world doesn't reward good. It rewards those who take action. That means you need to stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. Stop expecting recognition, start demanding it. How many times have you done good work, hoping someone would notice? That's a losing strategy. The people who win make sure they're seen. They position themselves as valuable. Goodness without strength is useless in a world that rewards power. Rule number 2, stop waiting for fairness. If you still believe that life is fair, you've already lost. Fairness isn't given, it's taken. History is written by those who take control. If you want respect, power, success, you need to position yourself strategically. Think about the people who succeed. They don't sit around waiting. They find leverage, they build alliances, they create systems that benefit them. If you don't do the same, you'll always be at the mercy of those who do. Rule number 3, stop fearing power. Power itself isn't evil. Weakness is dangerous. Because here's what happens to weak people in this world. They get stepped on, they get used, they get discarded. If you don't build your own strength, mentally, financially, socially, you will always be at the mercy of those who do. And that's exactly what the system wants. So if you're tired of being on the losing side, it's time to stop playing by their rules. You don't have to be corrupt. You don't have to be ruthless, but you do have to be strong. Now, you know why the worst people always win and why the good ones always lose. You've seen the truth. You've felt it your entire life. And now you have a decision to make. You can pretend you never heard this. Keep believing that if you just work harder, if you just wait long enough, things will magically work out. Or you can accept reality for what it is. The world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards those who understand power, the ones who position themselves strategically, the ones who create their own opportunities, the ones who stop waiting and start taking control. So, what will you do? Will you stay powerless, following the rules they gave you? Or will you wake up, start thinking for yourself, and play the game on your own terms? Because the worst people will keep winning unless you decide to change the game. Your move. Do you think good people can still win in this world? Or is the game completely rigged? Let me know in the comments.